And it is, if you notice the second house to the seventh house, it's the inconjunct aspect. So it shows that there must be some type of adjustment, some type of compromise, some type of change and process as we go out there. Now the seventh house cusp, if you remember, the ascendant is our instinctive response to anything that comes at us in our environment. This is evolutionary astrology's perspective, which is different than your cookbooks. Your cookbooks want to say it's the mask that you wear, it's what you project out there. You have no consciousness of what you're projecting out there when you have a sign on the ascendant. What the cookbooks are actually describing is the descendant, the seventh house cusp, where we're conscious of the mask, where we're conscious of what we're projecting out there to others. Seventh house are projections on to relationships from a conscious perspective. So some of the other components of the seventh house, with it relating to the outer side of Venus, is the psychology of listening. An ability to hear the partner. Because what is the seventh house Libra lesson? Equality of giving and receiving. And again, we will find that our cookbooks make this assumption that Libra and the seventh house is already balanced. And the reason that we go through the seventh house or Libra is because most of the times we've not been able to affect that completely. So we are learning a balance of giving and receiving. All right? So as the seventh house becomes those conscious projections and expectations in our relationships, that sign on the seventh house cusp will many times describe the type of partners that we project onto. So the type of partner that we're attracting in. And because of the natural inconjunct between the second and the seventh, there's some type of adjustment with our partner in getting our needs met. Hold on just a second. I have both the cameraman and the mic writing. Thanks, you guys. Both Rika and Gabriella. Rika?
No, I was just wondering, like, a little bit confused that if the eighth house was also the type of partners that one is attracting, so what's the difference with the seventh house?
They will both work, all right?
Both?
They will both work, all right?
Okay.
Because this seventh house is the conscious projections we make onto this eighth house partner.
Okay.
Okay? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Gabriella?
What if Taurus, who is the ruler of the second house, is on the descendant?
Say again.
What does that mean for this inconjunct if Taurus is in the seventh? Taurus in the seventh.
When Taurus is on the seventh house cusp, I'm not there yet, okay?
Yep.
We'll use that as an example. But before we go into putting an actual sign on the seventh house cusp, we want to understand this, okay? Annie?
Just to clarify that 7th, 8th difference, the 7th house could be any person.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
8th house is
Yeah,
intimate partnership.
That's what I was thinking also, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, that's a good clarification too. But the seventh house will describe these projections that we want to make onto all partners, including the projections we want to make on the eighth house intimate partner. Right? The seventh house cusp will be the projections and expectations we put out there into all our relationships, including the ones we project and expect from our intimate partner, 8th house. Ginny?
And the inconjunct again with the second and the seventh. Are you referring to the second as your inner security, yourself, and that kind of a stressor between all
Right.
the relationships out there? Oh,
Right. Right. You know, think about it. When we project stuff out there, all right, you know, what's going to happen to the people we're projecting on is they're going to give us information back that has a direct impact on ourself, 1st house, okay? And when we're projecting all this stuff out there, 7th house, all right, that partner is going to say, wait a minute, you must take care of those needs yourself. Stop projecting them onto me. All right? And so the inconjunct with the 150-degree mark between the 2nd house cusp and the 7th house cusp, that's the inconjunct or the quincunx. Again, this is an element of compromise and adjustment. And it also, because it relates to the inconjunct, relates to the 150-degree Virgo mark, okay? What we can have with this inconjunct is we can get into the whole element of doubt and insecurity. Okay? Because this is what I'm projecting out here onto my partner, but it's not working and they're throwing me back in upon myself, so then we start doubting ourselves in relationship. Okay? But again, the 7th house cusp is what is the expectations. Libra, 7th house. It's the expectations we will put out there onto our relationships consciously. All right? And again, if we've not affected that 2nd house, Venus, inner self-reliance, then the outer Venus is going to be projecting those needs out there onto the partners, onto our relationships. John?
So you could say that through this process of unconscious projection from your 1st house into your 7th, that the partner refuses that, and the adjustment is that they want you to move out of your 1st house into your 2nd.
Into your own self-reliance.
Into your self-reliance, 2nd house.
Yes. You were correct, except that it wasn't the unconscious projections. 7th house cusp is our conscious projections onto relationships. The 12th house is the unconscious projections onto relationships.
I thought you said they were unconscious because the 1st house is the unconscious way you kind of throw yourself into your life.
No, I'm saying
No.
that the ascendant is instinctively how we respond to anything that comes into our environment. And because it is an instinctive response, we're not conscious of it until after the fact. Okay? You know, example again, let's just take this Libra rising thing. A Libra rising on the ascendant, there is an instinctive response to partnership with anybody who comes into your environment. And afterwards, your Aries descended is going, wait a minute, this is very codependent, and they're trying to trap me into something, and I need to have my freedom in my relationship. But they're not conscious of the fact that they're instinctively, moving into relationship with somebody before taking the time to reflect, is this a healthy person to go into relationship with? Is it moving along in healthy ways? My point is the ascendant is our instinctive response to whatever comes at us in our environment. Okay? And that's where I was saying unconscious. Unconscious because the ascendant's coming off the 12th house. We're just rebirthing. That instinct to become, it's Mars energy.
So when the results come back to us by reflection from others after
7th
we
house?
act,
Yes?
that's when it becomes conscious?
Yes. becomes conscious after the fact. Look at it when we work with Aries in the first house and its rulership Mars, that instinctive desire to become. And when you have a lot of that Aryan energy, you must instinctively act upon it. You just initiate it, you do it. And it's after you initiate it that you get the reflection, reaction, response. Now you can see 7th house descendant from others, that then you go, oh, this is what it means. Oh, this is why I did it. Steve?
Yeah, the words for the 7th house, Libra, would be contrast and comparison
Here we go. There we go.
to others. So that's what's coming back, getting information about self, almost like looking through the mirror. Right.
So let's, go
Which
ahead.
goes back to what I said yesterday about everything being an outer projection of our inner state.
Yes.
So the reality is mirrored back to us as though the movie was playing of our life. The problem is we get confused and we forget that it's our movie that's playing out there.
So let's use those words Steve brought up, contrast and comparison. There's these relate to the 7th house in Libra. So we're making all these conscious projections onto relationships. And then because of this contrast comparison, this 7th house, okay, does this work? Is this someone I want? You know, again, here's that inconjunct, back to our essential needs. Is this relating in this way really meeting my needs? You know? Okay, contrast and compare. And if what we're projecting out here onto this initiation of relationships is not working, it throws us back in upon ourself, leading us to meet our own needs.